Okay, so the first thing I'd like to do is read an extract. Okay, so just have a bit of a... Okay, and the pictures are just so cute. And when I wrote, because I actually wrote this story a few years ago, and initially I was thinking for young adults, maybe older teens, but what's been really fascinating is because of the style, that Nariki, by the way, I went through the whole process of expressions of interest. I had people apply from New Zealand, from Melbourne, from the Gold Coast, and a couple from Sydney. And part of what they had to do was do concept drawing and look at how fast they drew and all of those things. So he forgets, he just thinks, he met me and he did get nominated by 2 people. He put himself forward, but it was, fabulous. So, okay, so I'm going to do the showing. And I do this for adults as well as children. I've taught, even heads of big companies, even out of China or other countries as well. Okay. As a young man, Uncle Ling decided to venture off to the big city, Beijing. Tales were heard back in his village of his great success. Tales of him travelling all over the world, of skiing, bungee jumping, and sailing in New Zealand and mountain biking in Peru. And by now, he had taken on a Western nickname, Tom, named after his favourite action star, Tom Cruise, of Mission Impossible fame. Those of you who have been around, especially Chinese students at university, you probably know that they always take on a Western name. Well, not always, but usually. Later still, the young man travelled further and went to live in the sun in the exotic faraway land of Hawaii, where the local people were known all over the world for their friendly smiles and warm hospitality. The young man was even more popular. The village heard of and saw online his new achievements and his new titles. He went to America and saw the Statue of Liberty and even the Taj Mahal in India. Then one day, the little boy, now a man, came back. But he didn't want to meet any of his old friends. But back on the farm, in the house he grew up in, new times of love, laughter, and winter warmth were having. Uncle Ling, or Tom, with his sister, their beloved mum, and now his niece and nephew, laughed and played. In winter, they played video games and sometimes out in the snow. In spring, they jumped on the trampoline or flew kites up on the mountain. The village heard he was back and wondered, why wasn't he married? Where was his money? Why wasn't he working? On the farm, all was unchanged, or at least so it seemed to Uncle Ling, and that life outside the farm didn't matter. Then one day, an old man came to the farm to buy his firewood. He saw Uncle Ling and remembered him smile and laugh. He was reminded of the young boy that he had seen so many years before. He also wondered the same thing as the townspeople nearby. Another time, the old man came to buy his firewood. He saw Uncle Ling outside doing kung fu. He couldn't help but smile. It seemed Uncle Ling was trying to teach himself. The old man was a kung fu master, and many years before he had taught kung fu. For some reason, he felt drawn to this younger man, perhaps because he remembered that he did not have a father. So he calmly walked over and joined in the slow warm-up exercises that he had once known so well. Uncle Ling acknowledged the old man with a smile. Words were not needed. The old man began to teach the younger man. He began to come 2 or 3 times a week. Often he would share wisdom. He knew the younger man did not like to be instructed on how to think, so he was careful to not say too much, but give some simple sayings every now and then. So the question is, what were the simple sayings? And more importantly, we can read something for a moment, but then we need to be thinking, well, actually, what did he mean? What does that mean? Do I know what that means? And even for me reading it, I've been challenged again. And so I've actually been going on and just thinking, wow, I'm going to go back again and have a look more deeply at that. Okay, so basically it's, obviously the story of the young man, and then through meeting his former mentor, and so important, especially in these days where there's so many men, growing up without fathers, that they need male mentors in their life, and then he does learn some secrets of success. So that is available, and like I said, I'm available for signings, and also Nadiki is as well. Oh, sorry, and where to buy it. That particular book, the new one, it's only available on demand. So it's, in Australia, Amazon, Westboro Press. If you have a look at our website, which I think might pull out all